Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It feels like it's been a long time coming because of time away in Glasgow and Dundee, but we're back. We're back. It's been a good couple of weeks in the world of the hockey in the UK. Um, some highs, some lows, and lots of drama, which obviously we're not complaining about, are we really? So, obviously, we are back. I'm back after a really good rink tour in Glasgow, Friday, Saturday, and then Dundee, Sunday. First of all, just want to thank everyone from the clan organisation, the fans, everyone who came up and said hi and had a chat, had a selfie. Obviously, really happy. We got some badges. We got clan, Scotland's best Purple Army. Um, of course, Purple Army as well. They were very kind. Johnny gave us some stickers and stuff, so obviously we'll make sure we make good use of those. Really kind of them. Great couple of days. Went to Alston's Bar and Beef. Had venison, as you do, but also I went to Fanny Trollops. If you can see that, did not pick the name just because it was Fanny Trollops and it made me giggle. Yeah, it did a wee bit, but that's absolutely fine. And also Dundee, got to see Desperate Dan. I want to put a really big thank you, obviously, the fans of Dundee Stars TV, for having a little bit of a play, talking about me so much on commentary and getting me on the screen when they had nothing better to show during that. But also a really big thank you to Andrew, David, and his family that were kind of my taxi service while I was there and showed me and taught me that doesn't have Sunday trading times, which was great. Got some black pudding, got some lawn sausage and a beer, and also Willie. Really good book. Had a look at that and learn all about the Beano. So really good trip. Kind of hoping 2025 we get to fill the final five, which is Belfast, Cardiff, Guildford, Coventry, and Manchester. Altrincham, but yeah, they're the final five. Hopefully we can go mix it up a wee bit and do it. So that's good. So we did a vote online. Everyone wanted to talk about Clan. So I'm going to do this in a couple of little bit parts. Really, Clan have kind of turned the corner. They've obviously lost a couple of players the last couple of weeks, but they've been playing really, really well. I mean, Landon Bow in net has been really, really a top netminder. He kind of very came close to netminder of the month. I think obviously him and Ryan were kind of the top two, and Matt Robinson is a close third with his performances, really. And Lucas Bryan, probably one of the best hairs styles that you've seen in the league. Good tash as well. Kind of following up and taking the opportunities that he has. As a really steady netminder, young Brit as well, which obviously is something that we love and enjoy. But their performances, they've been fighting hard, playing really, really well, getting the 4-point weekends. I mean, don't want to play devil's advocate. They did get a 4-point weekend while I was there, and 3 on the bounce now. They have played 3 times, won 3 times when I've been there. So don't want to throw anything in there that it's all down to me. It's not. Just probably like 70-80% probably, if I'm honest. But they've been a really good team. Great. I never saw. Interesting tidbit is I've never seen Lacko score for Panthers, and I got to see him score twice on the game at the weekend against. It was the Friday night against Manchester Storm. Really great performance, great playing. Great team, and got to be honest. Clan was one of those ones that, people were massively against them with all the hoo-ha, outside influences about having £12 on the screen for purchases. And there's just been a myriad of things that have kind of happened, the fist pumping zone, so many aspects where outside of hockey, they've kind of had a source of ridicule. But you've got to be honest with them, to be fair. They've kind of performed. Corey is one of those coaches that, you look at as a really good coach, really, really good coach. And he's starting to work his magic now. I mean, he is someone that, you don't want to mess around with. And the way his teams play. There might not be a lot of goals, but their management of a game as well is highly enjoyable. They frustrate teams. They are tough to beat and break down. And now they've actually seen that's the last couple of weeks that they've done that. And, you know, the teams that they've been playing, performances wise, people might have expected them to lose. But this is a team that's on form at the moment now. They're scoring. They're having some really good performance. They've got a bit of fight into them. They don't like taking things badly. They've got probably one of the best intros in the league. They've got Clangus, who rouse it up. And I know people were a little bit apprehensive when I said that they probably have one of the best atmospheres. And, I did say that when I was out there. I admit that. And it was actually the thing that I really wanted to say about that is it's so natural. There's not, here's a piece of music, sing and dance along, clap along. It was kind of natural. Didn't realize they had the trumpets, the drums and everything, the dancing, the singing. It was a full night of 2 nights of bringing the noise, bringing it loud. I got to hear Flower of Scotland, which is always a delight that I can do and enjoy. And, it was really good. It was a bit cold. This is the thing, I'm kind of forgetting how rinks can be cold sometimes. There was a bit of a burning smell as well, but that flames contraption at the beginning for the intro is brilliant, which kind of leads me into obviously why we want to talk about Clan. Really great couple of days there, of course, absolutely fine. But if you went to them on Sunday, you got 20 minutes of hockey. We were all on social media. We got the photo sent to us kindly, which was really appreciative. We have said on social media, if you get photos and videos and you're happy to send them, we're happy to credit people. If they don't want us to credit, that's absolutely fine. But I can't be at every rink at any one time. I wish I could. But these moments, these snapshots of exactly what's happening, you kind of hear it that, the game gets delayed because the officials want to take a look at everything and put themselves in a position to know fully what's going on, taking a breath situation. Because obviously, if you're not at the rink and you're not watching the stream, you don't fully know. You get the photo and you see. Obviously, we were trying to find out which edge of the rink it was. Was it the area where the Flames was? And that might be a factor to it. Or was it the other end, which would have no bearing on it? And of course, them not playing the night before, that kind of factors in. But, safety is paramount. A lot of people say, health and safety has gone mad or whatever there, but no one really wants to be putting themselves in a position, especially a netminder or players, of having an injury or having themselves put in a position where they could be hurting because of something that's happened during the game. And, taking a nasty fall, taking a nasty slip, obviously cliche on the ice. But needs must has to be done. It's not a really great look. I know people said, on the bingo card, we should put a game abandoned. If we're honest, we never thought we'd probably put ourselves in a position that a game would be abandoned for damage to the ice or anything like that for reasonings. Probably wouldn't want to put it on there anyway. And we've kind of got to be mindful of circumstances like that where you look at it and you think, okay, that's a position where they did the best thing they needed to do. I completely understand, for the Guildford fan or fans that made the trip up from Guildford, it's a hell of a trip. I've fully, I went from Sheffield to Glasgow, so I know that the trip's a fair whack. Players did as well, if you look at it that way. They made the trip. Guildford made the trip. Fans made the trip. And to be fair, their own fans did as well. I mean, I know they had the full sign-in session after the game, so they kind of had something to do. They did the 50-50. They did the shirt off the back. They did everything they needed to do. And obviously the paid celebrations packages as well. And they released a statement. And, sometimes taking ownership and the absence of information leads to a vacuum. So having the vacuum that it's there, you kind of look at it as a position where they've done it, did the right thing they needed to do, obviously points deductions and everything like that, permitting the rules, some people with their far outreaching thoughts and prophecies with the way it goes. But obviously the really harsh thing now is that Flames will be making that long trip to replay. So hopefully they can look at it and try and look at the fixtures somewhere that maybe if they're playing a Fife or they're playing a Dundee, that they can kind of fit that date in somewhere. And obviously now that the Challenge Cup games are going to be ending soon, I mean, obviously the group stages, we obviously have to go through to the buy-in and everything. That's kind of a factor in, obviously Guildford aren't included in that, of course, but, Glasgow as well. There's a lot of actually to look at. And to be fair, there are teams that, you look at it and you think, okay, they're going to make the trip up. It's not going to be a given. There's not going to be a neutral venue or anything like that. Let's forget about that. It's going to be a tough travel, but hopefully they can kind of look at it at a weekend that's viable for obviously Braehead Arena to do it. Guildford have got the issues because the last thing, they scored within 17 seconds. If they look at the form book, there is one of those things that's the argument that, Clan are in a really good run of form. Guildford have obviously came back off the game on Wednesday and turning the corner as they did. They want to make sure that they've got an opportune body. If they've got bodies back in the building and they play it in a month's time or so, it might fall favourably to one of the two teams, but it's ifs and buts. But, as a fan, it's kind of one of those things that's, quite disappointing and sad that it had to be done, but it had to be done. You don't want to see these things. I mean, the players were probably a bit peeved that they obviously made a long bus legs, get the body ready, get prone to play 60 minutes of hockey or even more, and then they've got to strip off straight up, go back home a lot earlier than they can. The Clan fans are probably really happy because they had the signing off the back, so they got home a little bit earlier, especially after a long trip back from Sheffield. But it's never an ideal situation. But in the terms of safety, team puts a statement out. If the flaws of what happened with the ice itself is kind of contained to the fire, or it's just something else, and the ice plant, a lot of people have been questioning that when that will be coming in through the building and what that will look like. And, rinks being cut up and being in a position that it's churned through, we've got top players that want to play top games and play on the best ice that's possible. And that's what we want to see. We want to see two teams battle it out that leave everything on the ice, that you can't use ice conditions as an excuse or anything like that, or not being, because that's the thing is, if it was manageable and playable and there wasn't as damaged as it looked from the photos that we had, you wouldn't like a team to say, well, we've lost that game due to obviously the quality of the ice or anything like that. Decisions on and off the ice and everything is a tough one, but they made the right decision. Really good week for Clan in the whole, if we're honest. I mean, obviously it kind of ends on a damp squib where they were probably looking at a position where they can do it. And about obviously coming off on Saturday, opportunity to rest some more bodies to go again, especially because it's the really hectic Christmas period. And, that is one of the things you've got to keep an eye on. And going forward, I think, it's something that they'll fully keep an eye on and keep abreast of to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because the last thing is you don't want that on there and going forward. So, no, really good. Obviously, we'll cover the Clan in a little bit more detail. But next team that's on the list is the Nottingham Panthers. A lot of things that have been quietly going off in the background with the Panthers as well. The way that they've been playing, performing. And obviously we cannot forget, obviously, the reasons, Saturday, what they had to do with, obviously, the retirement of Adam Johnson's jersey. So, they put that free on YouTube and the ceremony. It's available to watch. So, if you haven't seen it already, I would highly recommend it. We watched it on Sunday when we got some time to just sit and fully compose ourselves and put ourselves in to go through and factor it in. And, the fact is that obviously it happened and they were able to do what they could do, and the players that they had that were there to be part of it, bringing AJ's family and the organisation and the fan bases that were actually there. It was honestly, it was it's heartbreaking to watch. If we're honest, you look at it and you see circumstances like that. No one really wanted obviously that to factor in. Why? And when you have something like that, a later face off and the players going through that and the fans going through that, um, it's a worry with a game like that, especially with the Friday game against the Storm being as what it was. A really not high octane game as it always is. Panthers versus Storm. There's always that. Sometimes the result didn't matter. It's the sense of the occasion and everything that was going through. Everyone get through the 60 minutes, get through the game. But you got to credit Panthers. From start to finish, the way that they played, the performance on the ice, the professionalism off the ice of every single person that's part of that organisation. Got to give a lot of credit and a lot of time for them to do it. And Friday was probably always a tough one because they haven't got the greatest position really with how they play at Storm. Storm obviously have got rid of, pretty much since we've last been on the show, head coach change as well. And it seems like it's turning a corner for Storm. Sometimes when you make these managerial changes, it can be one of two reasons. It can kind of just be stuck in a rut, stay where you go, and hope for the best. And then, of course, in the circumstances, they've actually performed really, really well. To get to overtime the way it was and the performance that was actually there, they did really, really well. And that's the thing that's always one of the games where you watch Storm, you watch Panthers, and they can bring it. Both teams can bring it. And, I really like how those games kind of pan out and go through. But a lot of the time, it's normally Storm that get the win somewhere down the line or anything like that. They do it. And then a lot of people very surprised, process them through. And you think, okay. It's tough. And, you kind of look at it through and the way Storm have been playing, it's a very big upturn. Christmas is a very big period for a lot of the finances with a lot of companies and, Christmas parties and getting people through the door and getting people engaged and, having the flexi ticket that they brought out, Storm, is really, really impressive that they've kind of done something, Obviously, few areas, that they need to obviously look at, it doesn't go a week when people are very critical and critique the quality of the stream and the poor quality of the commentary that happens during the games. And that's obviously a learning curve that obviously they can get better at and look at it going forward of something that they can do going forward. But, take it away, Panthers, Friday the 13th, scoring 30 seconds into overtime, probably something that they didn't really need to get to. But this is the thing about game management and bring in, a lot of people want that swashbuckling type of hockey, really, that comes through and has the ability to, play it really well and put themselves in a really good position. And, scoring, Sam Hare coming through, scoring as the way he did. A lot of people thought, how would he come back as a different player, an older player, his time in Germany? He did win forward of the month for chasing the puck in November, which obviously was not by any means luck or one fan base hijacking a post this month, as people have previously said, of course. But fully deserved, really great. And the thing is that now people are starting to score in, they're starting to get bodies back in the building. The situation with Hunter Vornia going back home for the reasons that he did and getting someone in the building and changing it up and making sure they have two netminders, that tandem, that 1A and 1B that they can utilise and bring to the table going forward is, considering Panthers last year and obviously the season and the bravery of a lot of the people that was within the organisation, the fan base on and off the ice, It's good. They've got obviously the monkey off their back. They finally beat the Sheffield Steelers after 20 in the 22nd game of the streak. So they've obviously that now comes out of equation that a lot of people obviously worried about. And game 22 finally win. A lot of circumstances in around that, but we'll come to that because I think obviously a lot of people want me to answer a certain question, which obviously will come as the evening progresses. But it's the performance, Fife on Saturday night, the how many players they actually had in their lineup, the opportunity that they were able to do, quite sad in the circumstances. That they're plugging away, they're trying their best, and then they're trying to survive in this. And I know a lot of people have been talking about the stuff, which obviously we'll cover later, because I don't want to go into too much of a tangent on the different teams with the questions that I've received over the last couple of days. And obviously, of course, everything's open, DMs and chats open. So obviously, feel free, drop in any questions, thoughts, feelings, admiration about the beard, anything that you want to throw in that we can do will be ideal. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is Panthers, picking up the points they've done, 15 out of 16 points. They've kind of been in the ascendancy. They've been playing well. The performances have kind of justified that. Yes, they're conceding when they do. Last month they got forward of the month and netminder of the month on the listing. Absolutely great. But obviously, that's a testament of the team that they kind of brought in. The first time that we've had someone win netminder of the month and get a spearing game ejection in the same month. So that's something new. That obviously we'll see. And obviously I know people are talking about the curse of the manager of the month, because every time the manager of the month wins, they then lose the next two games. So see what happens in December with the booking of the trend, but we'll see. But Panthers, given the weekend that they had to get a 4-point weekend, no one was hiding, no excuses, performances from start to finish. Yeah, they probably were in a position where they probably thought they could have closed out Friday when they needed to a lot quicker. But, complete performance, but you only can play who's in front of you. I know Fife, obviously, circumstances mean that what can you do? I mean, they has a couple of opportunities. And obviously a really, really good performance by the Panthers, too strong for them. And obviously that's a weekend in the general. But, they got a 4-point weekend. Panthers fans were happy. There wasn't too much shouting or lambasting and shenanigans on social media. Well, not in that NG postcode, which was a change. But when you do it and you think, okay, really great team, really good performances, recruited well, see what they do with the netminder situation the next couple of weeks. Obviously, people are kind of making an inkling that there is someone in the building and ready to go and should be announced in the next couple of days. Obviously, don't know anything about that, but they are in a position where going to a really good Christmas period, see what they can do. And I think, there is an opportunity that they could finish in the top 4 this year. But we don't make predictions. We just obviously make accusations and everything else and simulations in our brains. So if we're honest, they played really, really well. Obviously got another really good weekend that they can do. If they don't blame me. So next one on the list is Fife. So we kind of obviously covered their game on Saturday against Nottingham. It's a tough one. Obviously, the news in the week that they were kind of given special dispensation by the Elite League and the votes and everything. And, of course, beginning of the season, big change was about people leaving and making the changes because, certain circumstances last year led to teams kind of having the opportunity to making changes willy-nilly and just basically say that, they wanted to leave and they could make as many changes as they could within the realm of possibilities that people wanted to nip in the bud and get that sorted and disagreed with. So Obviously, the other stringent now is that they made it change and it had to be special. Latal and the Kazi boys going back, kind of looking. I mean, obviously, it's a really tough one for them because those players leaving, you know, going from Kazakhstan, not knowing the language, to going to Scotland, going to Kirkcaldy. It's a culture shock for people. From Kazakhstan to Scotland. You know, I only know Scotland. I don't know Kazakhstan. I don't know the subtle differences with it. And obviously, the only reference point I've got for Kazakhstan is probably not an area that is probably built in fact, and a film would not justify exactly 100% that's what the place is like. Who knows? Could be. But yeah, they basically come over. They're playing, really rough up, really tough nights where, you know, the stats aren't great reading. That's the thing is, they've got some wins. They obviously beat the Steelers a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure that obviously on a night where, if you look at it and you look at back at the circumstances of what was happening and everything, it was a moment in time. It was the perfect time to play them, really. And Five took full advantage. This is the thing that, young Brits through the door. We can talk about that until the cows come home. So there is some good young Brits that can come in and make a difference in that place. Scotland has some really top tier talented players that can join in and justify. I mean, obviously, the biggest pressure really is for either an import or a Brit is what needs to be done. You don't want people making up the numbers. You want people to come in and, I mean, is the question of saving the season or giving them fresh blood, fresh impetus into the team? Because this is the thing is that, a lot of people have already probably written off Fife's season in the sense of any league aspirations or playoff aspirations. And, speaking to people beginning of the season, there was this quiet optimism. It was what was being built upon and what was being brought upon that team. And now it's, half the season left. Can you get people in the door that are, I think one of the probably key factors is kind of what Blaze did, is bringing young imports that they could get through the door, give them a year and a half contract, look at them and say, give them the opportunity. Of course, contracts, sometimes there's someone's knocking on the door. If they had a really good rest of the season and people actually want to take that contract away from Europe or even in the elite league, of course, it's tough to say no. But having that kind of caveat of saying, we'll give you a year and a half, you get embedded, this is what we'll give you, you'll be playing. It takes the burden off the players because a lot of them, this is the thing, the special dispensation, people might not be fully happy about and not fully embracing. But you're kind of in a position where actually you don't want these other players getting injured or playing night after night after night, playing 6-minute hockey, just being there in such a way where you look at it and you think, okay, what are we going to do about this? Because there's going to be more injuries, there's going to be more suspensions, there's going to be putting themselves that, people are going to get tired trying to play those games, because especially with Hogmanay and New Year and Christmas and everything that's kind of mixed in, there's just so many games are going to come thick and fast. And these players that are going to be playing, if they get, I mean, some Cullen said it at the weekend, how knackered they were in the second period because of how many penalty kills they had. Take someone off the board, playing continuous minutes. You look at it this way and you think, okay, how can this be? I think players that have come through, Ben Brown coming through the door as well. There is a lot of talent that they can kind of utilize, but it's a hard sell. Great that you're going to get the minutes, you're going to get the opportunity to play and ice as best as you can, but doing it is, where do you go with the type of player that you can bring in? Is that, a mixture. You don't want someone who's come into the twilight of their career that just wants to do it for 3-4 months and then sail off to the sunset and just take the last bit of a paycheck that they can get. Young players coming in, do they want that responsibility, that fear of playing that could obviously strain them, drain them and pain them with playing as long as they did? because they're playing for a team. I've said, I have, I'll go on a limb and say I've said this in probably pretty much every episode that I've done, is that I would run through brick walls for Tom Cooling, and people might just not agree with me, have different thoughts that I do, but I think he's a hell of a guy. It's a tough one because it's not going to be good for morale. Taking a journey where if you're stepping off the bus already feeling the realms of defeat and not thinking you're going to get time of the opportunity. We talk about mental health in everyday life, and of course in hockey, and is that going through and having these little bits of fits and starts where you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, where everything's going to be okay, is that they want to bring people in that is that fresh impetus, that fresh bodies, get some time on the ice, get the morale and get everything built up, because you've got to credit the fan base. You saw the people that travelled to Nottingham and they've kind of gone to the games regardless where it is, home and away. A lot of people could say, well, I'm not doing this anymore, forget this, and people are still showing themselves. Social media is probably not the greatest place to look at the negativity that kind of comes with it, but unfortunately, if a team's not doing well, we always say about fits and starts. So, some teams will play really, really well. Some teams will have a blip, and some teams in five skates just have this little, everything's okay. It's looking up, and then just something happens that just kind of throws a spanner in the works, and it's a shame to see, really. And you just want them to obviously have now the right signings that come in and make a hell of a difference. And if they can do that, it's perfect. If they don't, then you're kind of a little bit like, okay, this is a bit troublesome. This is a bit problematic now. But it's tough. It's a really tough thing. I can't really talk how difficult it must be for a Five fan to get up and go. And see how that looks like, but time will tell. So they're going to be bringing some signings in, hope for the next couple of days and weeks, and see what they can kind of bring in. But it's good that the league's done it, in the nicest way, that they kind of brought it into the table and allowed them to do it. Because I know a lot of people weren't overly happy and said, oh, it's, why can they have that? There's 2 points with it, really, is that it's not going to make, it makes all the difference here, really, for the teams that if they get 8th place and they've had this special dispensation and they make playoffs, quarterfinal, and whatever happens there, Challenge Cup, by the by, that's gone. League-wise, that's the thing, is that if you're going for the league, in the nicest way, if you're the teams that I think you're fighting for the final 2 or 3 places in the league, you shouldn't be in a position where they are. You shouldn't be losing to Fife. I know it's obviously this as well. Is this big mentality? Is this, big team, little team, small divide? Is that if you're gunning for the league, you should be looking to beat the other 9 teams on a consistent basis and delivering performances at a consistent basis. And slipping up with something like that isn't going to do it at the end of the line. But, that's the thing. They have an opportunity now, bring some imports in. But, of course, that's, as Anthony says, from Banner of the World, welcome as always. I love the fact that we are a lot longer than the durable than the ice. I won't know. My back and shoulders are hurting a wee bit, so give it time. Obviously, they put me to work by doing the air the bear at the weekend, so that's still hurting. So I want sympathy if I can get that. But you're absolutely right. Fife now have the opportunity for getting a young Britain. I don't know, obviously, the teams, if you look at the Rockets, you look at Capitals, really congratulations on the trophy over the weekend as well. And you think of a Solway, and obviously there's a lot of factors that kind of mix in. I mean, obviously, I know we talk about the Elite League, but I mean, someone like Nolan Gardner, the weekend he's had for their 4-point weekend, 5 goals in a game, and obviously the Bees situation, is never anything. If you didn't see it, the amount of skaters they had over the weekend when they travelled up, that's kind of a scary proposition. And you talk about obviously Fife having the bodies in the building, but obviously if you want to know a bit more detail in that field, in that nature, I would obviously highly recommend Banners on the Wall. They obviously know the National League a lot more than myself. So if you get a chance, check them out on social media and listen to their show. They have a lot more knowledge and insight with that. But it's absolutely right. These young Brits, I know this is where it comes in again. It's not a feeder. It's not a development league. It's not all this. But Fife are in a position that if someone comes to the door and can give you a player for the rest of the season that can contribute, can get bodies, give you ice time, get goals and assists, older import, leadership, experience, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. There's a lot ones of there. And of course, the young guys, it's the shop window. That's the thing, is that, you look at these players that go, have a really great season, accumulate a lot of points. The big boys come a knocking and start putting themselves in the shop window. Is if everything is a free hit for Fife, now they are in a situation where do it. Absolutely do it. I've got a lot of time for the organisation. I think it's a great rink. Stovies are great. If anyone wants to have an argument with me who's got the best stovies in Scotland, I think that's probably a debate. I still say, rink tours, food tours, everything. I think, to be fair, I go for like 40% hockey and 60% for the food at the rink. That's obviously why, have a diet for next year. But it's one of those things, is that it's a great place to play. It has soul. It has a bit of atmosphere. The car park is unique. Elbow Room is unique. The city is really nice. It's right next to Edinburgh. I feel like I've now become a travel agent. Maybe I was missing something in life and I could have been a travel agent, but no, we want to see Fife do well. We want all teams to do well. You don't want one teams to be the perennial whipping boys of the league. And, this is the thing where a lot of teams are bouncing between score lines and taking points off each other. It'd be nice if obviously if Fife come to the party and have some say in the playoffs in the league as we go through that murky Christmas, New Year period where everyone's a little bit jolly and a little bit festive, and rink sizes are up because a lot of people are back from uni, seeing family, and the perfect time to do it, to go away and enjoy it. And of course, Anthony said, Wednesday at 8 o'clock, YouTube. If you want to get your National League fix, go and see. I mean, at some point, I will do a one-off show and everything with everything we do, because obviously I'm mindful that, I don't want to show favoritism. I don't want to show one team over the other. So that's a plan for 2025. Lots of plans in 2025 that obviously you guys are always can be helpful with and supportive with, which is great. And obviously now if we just move on to the next team, so obviously don't want to show any favoritism or anything like that, or one particular team that we talk about all the much. His next team that's on the list is the Sheffield Steelers. That was a good intersect as well. So let's talk about their weekend. So before we start their weekend, I think it's fair to say Wednesday. So Wednesday was a game that I didn't go to. Unfortunately, work commitments meant that I missed that particular game. So no vlog, no rink tour, no trying to keep abreast of the situation and the action, which is fine. I mean, I don't think I could have tried to get 9 goals recorded the way I normally do, because I have a habit of missing goals because I'm always either too slow in the recording or I'm posting something at the same time. I really need a secretary, if I'm honest, but that's something else for 2025. But for a team that in 2025 will be looking to get away from the dredges of everything like that and turn a new leaf and turn the corner, is probably Sheffield. They had a really great performance on Wednesday. Great for the Brits, great for Steel Dogs. IBN getting his goal, his first as they said, his first professional goal. And I know obviously there's a lot of rumblings of how that kind of fits in within, the parameters of the National League and that as well. And this is the thing, this is a team that, from having a head coach that was kind of finally the bride and not the bridesmaid, that has been for the last couple of seasons since obviously that win in Cardiff for the Challenge Cup, is that he's a master team that, let's not beat around the bush. 6 weeks ago, this was a team and a coach that in the national, in the Champions Hockey League was pretty much best thing since sliced bread. It was a team that everyone was applauding, loving, and, basically flying the flag for the UK, the first team since the Nottingham Panthers to get it through the knockout stages. Turn it around to a couple of weeks later, and as you can see in the comments right now, one of the key things is Fox out, or you look at it and a great bit of glee and excitement that the team isn't firing on all cylinders. This is a team that was the Orange Bastards, the Road Blokes, and last year for them. And I will be honest and impartial as best I can, and there's no, and I'll be honest and just say that I will just do what I want to do with relating to it, is that they've not been performing they wanted to do, but the will and the drive is there. But you've got to remember, this is a team that last year that kind of pulled everyone's pants down. Is that if you look at every single team, Belfast, Devils, Guildford, Storm, Blaze, Clan, Star, Fife, every single one is in a position where you look at it and you think, if I was a player coming in that was here last year, or a old coach or a new coach or anything like that, is that the pedestal and the standard was set by the Sheffield Steelers last year. And the year before that, what the pedestal was, Belfast Giants. This is the thing, that we've had 2 years in a row where there's been Grand Slam teams in the Belfast Giants and the Steelers that have gone on the CHL. Belfast just about, nearly got there into the final part. And then Sheffield did get through to the final stages until they met Berlin. All roads lead to Berlin. And this is the thing, if you're a team, regardless who you are, the scalp that you want to get in this league this year is the Steelers. Because we're starting to see, this is the thing that, they were lauded and applauded 6 weeks ago in the CHL. A lot of people are turning on them in such a way that you see the posts, in the Orange Army and everything like that, where they are a lot of people that are basically saying, so-and-so out, this person isn't better than so-and-so. Get him out. We don't need, these people just wanted to be a shop window of the CHL. There's just so many inconceivable variations there is. But if, everyone's coming after you, everyone wants to be in a situation where everyone wants to be in that position that on the final buzzer, on whatever day of the week it is, has got that scarp over the Steelers. Everyone wants to win every game that they play in, but there is a lot of humble pie that people want to do. And I know people have been posting about the Steelers crumble, which, I didn't. One of those things. But this is exactly the same things that happened for Giants last year, is that everyone was kind of waiting for the fall. And people were waiting for them being in a situation where form has gone, injuries. A lot of posts last couple of weeks have been basically about Matt Greenfield. He's, the MVP for the Steelers. Once he's out the equation, that it just kind of changes the team dynamic and everything as well. So that happened. Put themselves in a position there where it opens it up. The thing is that a lot of people now have kind of sensed that, the power play was probably one of the staples, one of the biggest things. The power play and the penalty kill was kind of Steelers staples, this is the thing. I've gone from being ready that once Steelers had a power play, that it was get ready for something to post, get something to record. It was going to hit, bang, boom, 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 and then going for 0 for 4. This is obviously a team that has been well scouted, well appreciated to know. This is the thing. The biggest compliment that you can get is when people take the most notice of you. Is that some people will fly under the radar. A lot of these teams now have scouts and game analysis and management. All the interviews I used to do back a couple of years ago when I first started was like, we'll watch the tape. And I always thought it was like a grainy VHS that they'd watch to see everything, very cliche, very 90s, showing my age. But, the turnaround of everything like that is that you've got to remember that the Steelers have kind of kept everybody that they had the previous season, which is great for continuity. This is obviously something that I said, Panthers is one of those teams that chop and changes. So it has a struggle finding that identity. For the Steelers, the issue really is that everyone kind of knows what is a coming now and can kind of be ready and prepared. And this is kind of the situation now where a lot of people are keeping their receipts. I think that's obviously something that I like to say is that, from a social media point of view, that everyone likes to keep their receipts is that, let's not be around the bush. We posted some stuff that's kind of been known goal and kind of been, oh, we're going to regret that in a couple of weeks' time. And we've all done it. Deleting's cheating, as we say. Obviously, if it goes really shitty, anything like that, that's when I would. But, you're kind of in a position that a lot of teams now have that kind of, they saw the smugness of fans that have, love the orange bastards and the road blokes and they're tired of winning too much winning and being in different parts of the country and abroad celebrating the successes, whether you be in the UK, India, or wherever. A lot of people were very much smug mode was initiated, and unfortunately this is a thing that a lot of people now have seen that, taken that on board, and kind of put themselves in a position where any little movement, because this is the thing now, is that a lot of people, with every hit, with every fight, with every decision, with everything like that, you start to get that old, brown envelopes. If a decision it goes the way of the Steelers and they don't get banned or anything like that, if there is a position where games go by decisions, and if those decisions aren't those, well, everyone kind of looks at it in a different light. But this is the thing. It's the people. This is primarily the same team that kind of done it every single night of the week last year in the Elite League. They've had that situation with the Champions Hockey League. That's going to take a lot out of the body, a lot of mental and physical. Losing a player like Robert Dowd for the last couple of weeks is, find me a team that would be able to kind of cope with that without that leadership, without that drive, determination from a guy from Billingham that kind of plays with his heart in his sleeve, is a driver, and also is a fighter as well, that kind of turns a game on its head. And this is the thing, when you take someone out of the equation that's like that, Kevin Tansi's came in, really great captaincy, leader, and the attitude that he has. And, when Tansy Smash comes into circulation, absolutely fine. Greenfield, really great top person. But this is the thing, is that you level it up and you look at the type of players that they've got, is, losing 2-1, going from 9-0 to 2-1 against Glasgow. Don't take anything away from Glasgow. They played the perfect game. They stifled and disrupted the flow. And that's the kind of thing now, is that a lot of teams are disrupting that flow. It's very rare for the last couple of weeks, for an example, that some are having such a foothold on the game. Because I remember Steelers games last year where it wasn't even in question who was going to win the game. They just kind of manage the game from start to finish, and seeing that in flits and starts. I mean, I'm sorry if there is any Guildford fans watching or listening. I know that you're kind of like, but all these teams did that, and we lost 9-0, and we're really sad about it. And I apologise. You're the kind of the anomaly at this moment in time, and it'll come good. I fully understand that. We're not at mind the gap stage for Guildford, but they've kind of done really, really well, and obviously well done, at being part of a really, really random night. I mean, when they were part of a really, really random night on Boxing Day against Manchester Storm. So get it out of the way early, absolutely fine. Really, really good. But yeah, I mean, you got to look at it. There's a lot of people that are kind of reveling in the demise of the Steelers, but as once the people that kept the receipts from last season are now fully enjoying and embracing that, I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot of Steelers fans that are keeping the receipts of what's happening this season, because obviously you can screenshot this, you can record it, you can do anything that you want to do with this part, where I will say is they will be in the top 3. They will probably be in a final in the Challenge Cup. They'll probably be in the final 4 at Nottingham playoff weekend. Admittedly, I don't need to do any proposals this year, so whatever happens after that, absolutely fine. But this is a team that isn't going to fall by the wayside. Obviously, I know they're laughing and joking about Fox out that certain people have said, or get them all on a plane. Ain't going to happen. Obviously, consistency is the key. They'll probably get results over Christmas. We all know what's going to happen Boxing Day against Panthers. The 2 games against Storm. Obviously, the anomaly really is this weekend with Cardiff. I think that's probably one that they'll really want to get the win of, because obviously with Cardiff then going as the Conti Cup over January, any points that have been misplaced and taken away by teams before, they can start building up. But then obviously Cardiff then get the games in hand. So it's a very dangerous mix. But if anyone's looking at it as a particular for, no, let's just take it that way. So absolutely fine. There'll still be the Sweet Caroline. There'll still be everything like that. And give it a week or 2 and normal service will be resumed. But don't take it away from obviously Clan and Belfast. Really great performances on Sunday. Teddy Bear Toss, they didn't get shut out this time at home. It's a signing night as well. Perfect win. Obviously, the last couple of weeks and a couple of times they played the Steelers, there's been a lot of hoo-ha in. Comments on social media that's kind of had to be reined in. But they took the win. Really, really good. So, great performance. Really great. And really, really thankful team. So, Belfast did great. Really enjoyed the way that they've been playing the last couple of weeks. And I think, obviously, with Keith having his testimonial, is that the harmony's kind of there for their 25th anniversary. There'll be another team. Still say final 3 in no particular order: Cardiff, Belfast, Steelers. I know what you're thinking. Well, that's well too easy. There might be someone who might break into that. Who could it be? Could it be Panthers? Could it be Storm? Could it be Fife? Or could it be the Coventry Blaze? And as a lead-in, that was obviously probably the best lead-in that I've ever done. The suspense, I'm sure, was killing you that I was going to say the Coventry Blaze. So obviously, apologies for the second month in a row. Kevin Moore has won Manager of the Month, as voted by you guys, and then lost the next 2 games. Don't think it's cursed, if I'm honest. Just think it's the luck of the draw. So December, obviously, Coventry fans, if you're listening and you want to win the next 2 games in January, vote for somebody else, just to see if that's what might happen. But no, fully deserved. I mean, they're a really great group, and they've been performing really, really well. And it's always nice. The established order is always what it is with the arena teams. They've got the bigger budget, they've got the opportunities, and for someone to come through the door like Kevin Moore, to recruit the way he wanted to do with the people that he wanted to do, kept the experience of people that know the league and have that age mentality, but to bring young people in that time and opportunity, to have them in the building and do what they wanted to do, where they wanted to do it. Absolutely perfect. So, I think they are going to be a team that will. I think they're knocking on the. I think they're knocking on the final four. Do they break that kind of into the top three? I don't think they do. I think obviously the wheels will come unstuck later down the line, unfortunately. Obviously with injuries and anything like that, but the changes. But from a camp point of view, one thing I'll probably really say, I really want to go to Coventry 2025. Obviously, I'd love Coventry to follow us at some point, which would be nice. Same with Storm and Belfast. They're the final three to get a perfect 10 in the league. But yeah, I mean, Blazer, I'd really like to go and watch up close and personal because obviously great. I saw Michigan. Who doesn't love a magician? In the league, 2 scored in the last couple of years, both by Coventry players. There's something in the water in Coventry. This obviously isn't a joke and a pun when someone said they were the unwashed, but seems to be something with Coventry at the moment. They've been performing really well. They've got Witherspoons, can have Papa John's, winner chicken dinner. But yeah, I mean, performance-wise, they've been great. Obviously, the big sad thing is that Kevin Moore's shaved his beard off. We miss it. It's sad. But what can you do? So one other thing that we wanted to go through, obviously there is a couple more bits, but I thought, wow, we could do this now, is that earlier today we posted what hockey opinion gets people acting like this, and then it's that film. I can't remember the film. Green's probably going to hate me when I can't remember it, but it's the guy with like swords in his face. It's probably a Disney film that I've probably not seen. Emperor's New Clothes or something, or Prince of Egypt. I don't know. It's something. But anyway, by the by, I don't know what it is. Anyway, she'll tell me. Wait for the message. Tell me exactly what film it is and how much it's a shame it's not Moana, so it's fine. So I'm just going to go through the list of what people's opinions are that get people angry and threatening them. So first one that we can see that was just been added, that people would want fighting removed from hockey entirety. I love hockey fights. Obviously safety, everything is paramount. I think they're part of the game. I'd love to keep. Next one is without Greenfield, Sheffield are nothing. Obviously, results-wise, the last couple of times, different netminder situation. You got to look at the confidence that Greenfield brings to the table in that and surety. The thing is that if you're playing with someone for the past year and a bit, week and a half, you know this person for a week and a half, there's going to be a relationship when the puck's going to drop and everything like that. Don't think Sheffield are nothing without Greenfield, but obviously he is a really assured person at the back that can do it. Is it perfectly okay to say shutout during a game? Absolutely fine. I've done it a couple of times and no one's lynched me, so I'm happy with that. Riley Brandt is a good little player and has improved season by season. I like the guy. Obviously for clicks and everything like that and engagement, he does something, everything follows. He did a star jump and obviously helped with Devils, obviously helping out with us with that. I think he's a really good player. I'm always in that partial import that is a little bit of a pain in the arse. Him, McNally, Toussignon, you got to like a player like that kind of divides opinion, and that's one player that he does. Daryl, of course, let's go with Daryl. That is fuck your hockey family shite. Obviously, hopefully I gave him, he's probably not listening, so it's fine. That's probably how we said it as well. Do you like kids at the games? Sounds really weird. Obviously, Teddy Bear Toss was great for them. The excitement, Lion King. Obviously, that's the tune in my mind. It wasn't really, but I've got to do it wrong because of copyright and everything like that. Kids of the future, One day I'm probably going to have a kid go into hockey games. Which rink they go to, who knows? I know. Karina knows. Everyone else knows. I don't have a choice in the matter. But apparently I'm watching a film tonight, Lord of the Rings, hopefully, or Ghostbusters. The good Ghostbusters, obviously, take into judgment which ones I mean there. Ross Jardine, obviously that's an opinion, apparently. His name, obviously there. Chris Revel, our Grand Slam was better than yours. What's opinion? Grand Slam's a Grand Slam. If we're honest, look at it this way. There's some teams that haven't won a trophy in years. Some people have won a trophy in pre-season and counted that as an actual official trophy. And some people have won an elite series for a league that obviously we'll never see again and don't know where the trophy is. But, get a Grand Slam win, celebrate. If it's an official Grand Slam, that's absolutely perfect. Enjoy it. Don't get rid of that. Let's have a look. So, opinion: Tansy and Sauceman annoy the hell out of me, but that's because they're such a thorn in the side when we play them. So, looking at that one, you're going to have players like that. Not just those players, but there is some players that just kind of turn it on when they play against a certain team. Probably someone, obviously, in the comments, in the chats, anything like that. I would love to hear it. Maybe we'll do something, maybe an article, maybe a special video where it's like, who is the pain in the side? Who is the fly in your ointment? Who always played your team and was an absolute runt against you? So, if I'm honest, there is always that player that just like, where the hell did they turn up? Their form has been out the window. Now they've scored a hattie against the team and they always seem to score past us. So obviously that's opened up. Other ones, we'll have a look at them in a second. But yeah, hockey is a place for everyone. I get the fact that, people are emotional. People have an ideal with the teams of them being life and death situations, whether they win or lose, or if something goes wrong, that they will do the F word, or they will shout, or they will curse and stomp their feet. And that's the adults, not just the children. But it is, I've never had an issue with a kid being at a rink. I mean, I was there when the clan hooligan section, which was 9 and 10-year-olds, just shouting abuse at the opposition fans. Loved every minute of it. The kids of the future. That's the thing, is when I'm long and gone, there will be someone on YouTube or some kind of virtual reality thing like Back to the Future 2, or something. I don't know. There'll be something. MySpace might make a return, or Bebo. But anyway, there's going to be someone that's going to be talking. You're going to be listening to them, and their first game was a couple of years ago, and now they're fully embraced and fully engaged in hockey. They've got all the jerseys, they've got all the signatures, they're doing their beard like a famous player and whatnot. So we'll see. So let's go on. Being obsessed with the Steelers is boring. Obviously, I wouldn't know. I don't obsess about the Steelers, who does? People might do. People got to obsess about something. Coventry was supposed to finish 10th. If we're honest, a lot of people had that thing. They said it the previous year about Storm. Don't make predictions. That's the thing, is everyone does this at the beginning of the season. Before the signings are official, people will do that. My top 10 is this. Doesn't matter who and then that team. But then there's also, they ask the commentators, they ask people in the know, the people within the hockey community, who's going to finish where, and then do a nice little league table and stuff like that. You don't really know. Some people work, some people don't. People can make changes in the middle of the season, get a special dispensation. Someone from the National Hockey League might become available and think, you know what, I fancy playing a couple months in Coventry or Nottingham. Or there's another shutout, Obviously, they were the days. I missed that one. But, someone can find someone that's a hidden gem that rocks up and takes the league by storm and gets them an extra so-and-so points to win the league. No one really knows. Next one is playoff weekend is shite and overpriced. I've had a good time, if I'm honest. Obviously, again, with the food, let's not throw in. That's obviously the only reason I go to these events, because there's food. But yeah, the hockey's good, getting everyone together in the same building. Drama. But everyone kind of has a lot of fun. Dundee Stars TV kind of rock it with the videos that they do. I like everyone together, if I'm honest. It's great to see people that I don't know. This year I've not been to Glasgow. A lot of Glasgow fans, a lot of Dundee fans came and stopped me. Steelers fans come and stop me and asked me how my trip was. Nottingham fans don't stop me, don't really talk to me. But apart from that, you're kind of in a position where getting to know these people and things, you see people on social media and you go, you're the one, that's your so-and-so. Obviously, it helps if they've got the name on the Twitter handle, because it's really awkward when it's like Big Booby 69 and you speak to a 50-year-old man from Twitter. But that might be their name. I'm not judgmental. I'm absolutely 100% fine if that's your Twitter name and your normal name. Have at it. But you get to meet people you don't know, and you can make friends for life. I mean, I'm a big advocate. I met someone on Twitter, and she won't leave me alone. So, what can you do? Let's have a look. So, having 0 points doesn't make a player bad. Scoring isn't the only way to contribute to a team. That's the thing, is there are so many different angles. That obviously there is Rands and nearly Rands. There is obviously the talisman that score in bunches and is the top hero of it. But admittedly, a lot of people do a lot of work in the background. as well, where the unsung heroes. There you go. Look, literally, I'm just getting loads of article ideas and video ideas. Is who, first of all, who's the guy that always scores goals past you, and is always a thorn in your side whenever you play them. But also, who are the unsung heroes of your team? I'll say randomly, just sprout that out in a DM or anything like that, or on here, absolutely fine, or wherever. It'd be quite funny to know who's the unsung hero. That might be. You've heard it here first. I don't know why I can't say first, but next month we'll exclusively bring to the table unsung hero of the month. So that might be a fan, that might be a volunteer, that might be a player, it might just be someone who's doing a YouTube show and you think he's an unsung hero, just between you and us. Don't vote for me because it'll be people will say it's a fix. But yeah, Giants Grand Slam was a lot harder to get for them as for Steelers to get theirs because the league was stronger. The Belfast year as opposed to the Steelers year. And then the last one is Glasgow Clans ice in great condition. So that's the opinion that's throwing it there. But of course, let's have a look at Facebook because, avenues there. So what opinion makes people angry? Anything to do with the Steelers usually. No, that's fair. Canada is no longer the top nation in hockey. I'm staying away from that one. Get rid of fighting. That's another one there. There's no place for game for fighting. That seems like that's a big one at the moment. Every other team is just as dirty and the fan base is just annoying as the Steelers. But the Steelers' success and bigger fan base mean they get overlooked a lot. Yeah, not touching that with a 20-foot barge pole either. Let's have a look. So there we go. Oh, we're the best fans in Europe. The league refs are amazing. Enforcers are necessary. And then the game is too soft. But the key one that's there is the teddy bear toss disrupts the game. That's obviously one of the last points that I wanted to get to is that, a lot of teams over the last couple of weeks have done the teddy bear toss. And, I'm a big advocate of throwing teddy bears at people. Unfortunately, I only can do it at the teddy bear toss. I can't do it in everyday life or in general because it's frowned upon. But yeah, I mean, if you've done it and obviously your team has done it, I know the numbers are coming through. It's for a damn good cause. And, we know we do these things from time to time, but it makes a hell of a big difference. So, obviously from me to everyone who's done it or have yet to do it, whenever you're listening, if you haven't already, buy a bear, buy as many bears, get them wrapped up, make sure they've got tags on it because the new protocol and the new rulings that have been done. And it makes all the difference for a young kid, boy or a girl, that don't have the things that they want to have at Christmas and all year round to help and support them. I'm a very big advocate of it. I accidentally threw lots of bears at volunteers on Saturday when I was helping clear the ice. And obviously I apologized to all them. I threw bears at small children, which was purely accidental. It was. But it's a damn good cause, at the end of the day. If your team hasn't done it yet and it's still yet to do, I know other teams do throw underpants on the ice. And there's so many different factors that clubs are fully embraced and informed with. So I would highly recommend it. If you can grab a bear, doesn't matter how big or how small, it makes a hell of a difference for those kids that are less fortunate than everyone. So we love to see it. It's something about giving back to the community, and that's where we go back to being a family sport, is that no matter what colours you wear, what team you support, and what your thoughts and opinions are, the best thing that the league can do and this fan bases that we can do is all pull together. And, when there's circumstances, when people are in need and when people need our help, that we help them as best we possibly can. And that's something that, as long as I've been following hockey, is that I know every fan base does, for no matter who it is, if they're in the same team or they're a stranger that they've never met before, they will always help and support them. And that's something damn proud to be as part of a hockey fan. I mean, we may mainly hate each other for 60 minutes, but when it needs to be, we can all be nice people and help as much as we can. So thank you for everyone who did it and is yet to do it. And if obviously the opportunity comes again, it doesn't have to be on Teddy Bear Toss Night. There's obviously lots of drives and lots of opportunities to do it as well and help out. And it's always a really great and helpful situation. So I know I normally do it as an hour and I've gone a little bit over time, but sometimes when you start off with something like that, is that there's obviously a couple of factors that you kind of want to cover very quickly. So the penultimate one is obviously I know there was over the weekend video circulating around. I will post it. Obviously, something happened in the National Hockey League with there was a near miss again that happened on the ice, and obviously I'll put a disclaimer and everything like that when I do post it. But when you see stuff like that still happening, especially after this weekend and everything that everyone's gone through, it just these accidental situations of body movement, and people play a game that is so hard and so fast and so volatile that anything can happen in a split second. And to see these things just rear its head and appear, it's sad to see them still being prevalent. And obviously, everyone keep safe with whatever hockey you play. Even if you're just skating recreationally. If obviously, I know with Christmas markets and whatnot, I know Sheffield and Nottingham have got their rinks and everything. It's just, I mean, I can't skate, so you never see me on a rink, and I don't think me waddling around with the Penguins going to be a good look. But we still have those circumstances that we have to post about, which is such a shame, that especially everything that we've gone through. But I will post it. Obviously, just want to make you obviously all aware that it's still out there and prevalent, and make you guys fully aware of it as well. And the last one for me is, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to our Sheffield this weekend, but I wanted to make sure that they get their moment that they did. But the Team GB, the girls at Sheffield, gave a hell of a count of themselves. And this is the thing that, just came at the final hurdle, but performances from everything we got a chance to watch, read, and embrace over those couple of days is that the future is bright. And the future of women's hockey is absolutely brilliant. And this is the next generation as well, is that being able to see on home ice these kids being able to see the girls can do it. The girls are in a position where they are top of the line playing to the best of their abilities and showcasing their talents and being so close to obviously getting it at the end. And you look at it and you think, it's a damn shame, but they've come leaps and bounds. I remember obviously first when you just saw little videos of them singing Feliz Navidad, and now they're just a little bit there and performing in such a way that it's going to come for them. The boys and the girls and everything like that, is that, we can be proud to be Team GB. And if you get an opportunity, it's one of the big regrets and misses that I didn't get a chance to go and see them. Really should have, if I'm honest, in hindsight. Like a damn good time. Bloody work, and stuff like that. But you look at it and you think they were so close. And, I think obviously they should be congratulated and applauded, the performances and the talent that is down the line, and the future that is looking great. It's looking good. And, we've got the opportunity with women's football, women's cricket is leaps and bounds and exploring the next generation. And for that next generation to be the girls playing hockey, it'd be interesting to see in 5-10 years to see how it grows and develops. But they should be applauded. And that's why I kind of wanted to leave it as the kind of final point of the episode 13. Unlucky for some, show that they did a damn good job. And, if you get a chance, if they're in your town, in your local area, playing as Team GB or any of the ladies' teams, go and give them a watch. You'll not be disappointed. It's a damn good show, and they play just as good as the boys. That's the thing. But thank you, as always, for watching, to listening, partaking, sharing, subscribing, not just on here, but on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and all the other channels, because there's just so many of them now. But yeah, it's been great. Obviously, as always, drop us a message, drop us a chat, interact, engage. We love to hear from you. We love to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. Send us your videos and your photos of the games. Absolutely perfect. We can hear it. Next week, obviously, we're doing the show on Monday. It is the Christmas special. So I will be wearing a Christmas hat and a Christmas jumper. So we'll make it festive. Admittedly, if you've not been whammed yet, I'll give you a precursor and say that you might get whammed. You might not get whammed. Who knows? You might have already been whammed. I might wham you with a random post. I'm just going to keep saying wham until I get told off by somebody. But it's going to be a Christmas special. We're going to get all festive, and who's been on the good list, the naughty list. So if you're listening, I'm going to put a post out, and because it's going to be a two kind of parts story. It's going to be what we're thankful for in 2025, what we would like to see in 2025, and also who's on the good list, the naughty list. Just going to very Christmassy. Very. I might even sing a carol. Who knows? But yeah, no, thank you very much for your time. Always appreciated that you take the time out on your busy Mondays after you've had hockey and think, I'm going to listen to a random guy with a beard talk for an hour and 20 minutes. But I appreciate it. Always do. And thank you very much for your time. Have a good week. Hope your teams win, play well, be merry, and you get a full 60 minutes and the game isn't abandoned. So